and welcome to our session. We're really excited to be able to talk to you a little bit about how you transform information and knowledge with Project Cortex. My name is Naomi Moneypenny. I have the privilege of being the Director of Product Development for Project Cortex, and Chris is joining me. Want to introduce yourself?
Thanks, Naomi. I'm Chris McNulty. I'm Director of Product Marketing for Microsoft 365. Naomi and I have been on this journey as we have been researching, investigating, planning, and delivering Project Cortex to our preview customers. We're so excited to be able to speak to you here through Build. And we love the fact that we're coming to you digitally so we can reach more people at Build than we ever reached before. I'll be coming back later in today's session to talk about the practical applications of Project Cortex to help you solve the business challenges that you may be facing with your users. But for the next part of the journey, I'd like Naomi to walk us through Project Cortex from a technical and experience overview. Naomi?
Great. Thanks so much, Chris. So yes, we've got lots of great content to be able to share with you. So a really packed agenda. And this is one of those great advantages, as Chris was mentioning, because this is a virtual event, you can go back and experience this content later. So if I go a little fast at the beginning, please forgive me, but hopefully you'll be able to get the opportunity to look at this content whenever you need it as you build out your new experiences. So we're going to cover off on a few different things, and we're going to take this step by step, because Project Cortex is a pretty big new offering from Microsoft, and it's something that hasn't even reached general availability yet. So you're seeing some of these experiences for the very first time. Some of our preview customers have been on this journey with us, and you'll get to experience some of those too. We're going to talk through a lot of the extensibility as well as part of this, because we know that it's not just about the experiences that we're developing, it's really about how you can build your own applications on top of this too. So let's go through a little bit about why we've even created Project Cortex. We've got really these challenges that have occurred inside of our organizations for many, many years now, and you may recognize many of the problems that are out here. So for example, how you think about tacit knowledge, that knowledge that's being shared inside of conversations and really being able to use that inside of your company. You've also seen lots of boundaries. Maybe there's been silos of information for many years, and thinking about how you can use search and other experiences to be able to create that issue, to be able to create a new experience for that. And so we can really think about how we overcome some of those challenges. And this is really where we started from when we were thinking about Project Cortex. Now, you know the richness of course, inside of the Microsoft Graph. All of the experiences that we're talking about today in terms of what we're doing with Project Cortex is really based on side of the Microsoft Graph. And so it starts out with great experiences, all of that collaboration data that you have every single day. So whenever you go to a meeting or you share a file or you update a document that someone else has been shared with you, you're able to use all of that great information to really get signals across all of the things that you're working on. And as you do that, you're learning essentially around that content. So inside of the Microsoft Graph, the things like the files, the meetings, the tasks, even the devices that you're working with every single day. When you share a link, all of that information, that richness is really captured inside of the Microsoft Graph. And we can use that as a basis for new and amazing experiences as well. We think about how you can create knowledge as part of this. So there's a web of understanding, if you will, and we're actually doing a lot of great stuff inside of Project Cortex to help you understand what topics are important inside of your organization and to be able to dynamically be able to surface those up. And that allows us to then create new insightful experiences as part of this too. So what is Project Cortex? This is a very simple overview slide, and Chris is going to give you more of the business introduction on this later. But really, when I think about what we do with Project Cortex, you can really think about two big value propositions, essentially. One is about all of that data that's coming inside of your company. So think about the business processes where maybe you're processing a bunch of forms. You maybe have a lot of invoices coming in, purchase orders, proposals, all kinds of documents that are coming in every single day. How can you save time and save money around this and really process that information in a new and smart way? You also want to be able to derive the insights that you need from the existing information that you have inside of your organization. So how do you get through to that knowledge and figure out what's important inside of your company? And then how can you help to dynamically surface that as part of Project Cortex? Now, as I mentioned, this is all really built on side of the Microsoft Graph, and we're taking full advantage of the whole Microsoft 365 stack as part of this. So you'll see in here, we've got the end user experiences, how you'll be able to get to Project Cortex as an end user. In this case, you'll see it surfacing up across Microsoft 365, whether it's through search or through the Office applications that you use every single day, or whether it's through things like SharePoint and Teams. But there's also a great deal of new information as part of this too. So if you think about the way that we're actually mining through content inside of your organization, Now, there's a great deal of understanding inside of what you have with Microsoft 365, but we also know there's a lot of content that's outside of your organization right now. Maybe it's in line of business systems, maybe it's in other applications like ServiceNow or Salesforce. Now, this is one of the areas that we can really think about. So thinking about bringing in the Microsoft Search content connectors as part of this, where those content connectors are able to reach out to things like ServiceNow and Salesforce and other external applications and bring that content in so that Project Cortex can mine it on top of the content you already have in Microsoft 365. We're also looking at lots of different ways that we can apply security and compliance. So if you're already familiar with many of our offerings, and there are other sessions at Build this week that go over this too. We're also creating new topics and content as part of this. So really having those topic cards, those topic pages in the topic center. And then we're creating a new set of experiences around allowing end users to create their own AI models to process that content that's coming inside of your organization. So that's really an overview of what we're doing from an architectural standpoint. Now let's talk a little bit about extensibility. So we know it's a great developer audience here at Build, and so it's one of the things we want to showcase to you. You get to use the power of the whole stack that you have inside of Microsoft as really a great way to be able to extend all of these experiences. So for example, of the work that's available now, as you've seen showcased during the many sessions that we have at Build this week, but you'll also see a whole new set of experiences that are coming soon as well. We look at Project Cortex. We're still a ways away from general availability. We're really looking at early summer for being available generally across worldwide. And so we'll have a new set of APIs along with that. First off, we're going to start with some of the structured metadata that's important inside of your organization. That's the taxonomy and content type APIs, where they'll all be available through the graph.microsoft.com endpoint. Later on, we're also looking at the whole knowledge space and understanding how that works. And so when you look at the knowledge space, it's really a great way to think about a new set of APIs. Maybe it's around topics and how you get that understanding, the relationships and entities that we want to build. And then also all of the component control we're going to cover through as well as part of this. So let's get on with understanding a little bit about content understanding and how you can make some of that information that's coming into your organization smarter and more effective as it comes in. You need to know as part of this. So when we think about the different ways your organization is going to use this, we really want to think about the great ways that we can use this as part of our content center and those experiences that end users are going to build out. So when we look at this area here specifically, we're going to process the information that's coming in. So things like forms and documents, maybe it's business agreements and proposals. You're going to extract what's important as part of that, and then you can use that subsequently for workflow and approvals. There are also great ways to think about extending this experience. So you can build all of the richness that we have inside of SharePoint. You can actually take all of that information. Maybe it's a new site design. Maybe you want to think about a specific business process inside of your organization. You can also think about using all the great capabilities we have with Power Automate and workflow and be able to add steps and stages in there. And then we have these taxonomy APIs that we're going to cover off on as well. So let's talk a little bit about the different ways that Project Cortex really brings together all of these new areas. So for content understanding, there's lots of different ways, and they kind of go up in the spectrum here. First off is really the manual methods that you have right now. So you may be already applying metadata inside of your organization. You may have already set up things like taxonomies as part of this, and you'll be able to use all of these great ways in existence. Now, on top of this, we have some new capabilities that your end users will be able to use, and you, of course, as developers will be able to extend. So the first area here is really around document understanding. So think about those unstructured documents that are coming inside of your organization. So proposals, agreements, contracts, all of that great information, where it's very differently structured, but the information that you need to extract from there is equally important. We also have a new method with the Power Platform in terms of using the AI Builder technology. An AI Builder actually has a great way to do things like form processing. So where documents are very structured and the templated kind of format, this is a great way to be able to extract the metadata you need as part of that too. And then finally, we're using some of the great capabilities that we have from Azure Computer Vision and integrating those directly into Project Cortex. So we'll be able to do things like extracting text from some of the areas like business cards, receipts, other things that you have as part of your organization. So let's get started with content understanding, with figuring out what it is you need to enable in the administration center in order to have a great experience. So I'm going to show you here inside of the Microsoft Administration Center where I can actually configure the new settings for form processing. This is something you'll be able to have available in the document libraries that you have inside of SharePoint, and you'll be able to choose which document libraries where this capability is extended. In addition to this, you want to create a content center. This is something you as a tenant admin have control over. And the content center is really that destination for you to create machine teaching as well as form processing experiences. We want to think about machine teaching as being a great, rich experience that's really specific for a business process. So it's important when you create this content center here to give it a name that actually matches what the business process that you want to use it for. You can see it's a very simple setting here. So as I click through, you'll be able to see that I can review and edit these settings at any time. And once I've been able to do that, then I can come back and edit them later. So once that's done, I've created my content center and everything's working great. So let's look a little bit about the different capabilities you have as part of content understanding. As I mentioned, the Content Center is that new business site process destination that we have, and you'll be able to use the extensive methods we have for SharePoint Framework, for example, where you can create your own web parts and add those onto the Content Center page. It's essentially just a site design that we're using inside of Project Cortex. So all of the normal extensibility methods apply here too. But it really is that new destination that you have for machine teaching. And so the machine teaching experience is something we think about your subject matter experts being able to do and be able to go in there and create their own models and be able to use the power of their own knowledge to be able to use and develop the model that they need that's important. We also have this new experience around structured data, as I mentioned. So using that connection into the AI Builder platform, it's very similar in the way that we have existing Power Automate integration facilities as well. When you think about form processing, it's a great way to be able to look at the information that's coming in from a structured document and be able to attach that quickly within a document library. So let's go through a demo of some of those experiences here. So we look at things like form processing. I can go into my SharePoint document library in this case. With that document library, I can go off and create a new AI Builder model. Now, this is a great place for me to train this model. So in this case, I'll submit maybe 5 different documents, and they all need to have basically the same kind of template. What you're training here is that structured information and be able to extract the information that's important. So in this case, I have a purchase order, and I can extract from these different fields here to be able to understand what's important that I need to extract as part of my business process. So in this case, you'll see it's identified some of those fields automatically. And as part of our supervised model capabilities, you can also just ring fence around the things that you want as part of this too. Once I've figured out which fields are important to me, then I can apply this model inside of my SharePoint document library. And when I go ahead and upload the content, then they'll be able to extract that metadata for me automatically. If I click through here, you're going to see some of that metadata that's been extracted. Now, the cool thing here is, of course, that business process doesn't stop there. It's once you've extracted that metadata that's important, you can attach a Power Automate workflow to this. You can think about approvals, what else it needs to go. Maybe it needs to go to different systems. You can think about all the greatness there. Now, here's another area that we think about specifically for document understanding. So in this case, here I am at the Content Center, and I'm able to create a new model or use an existing model to be able to process the content that's important to me. Now, in this case, we're using that subject matter expertise. So think about the project managers, procurement people, the legal experts inside of your company. This is something that they should be able to build. And you, of course, as a developer, will be able to have extensible scenarios on top of this too. These models can get as complex as you want. And so there can be a lot of detail within them, or they can be something that's pretty simple to be able to understand things like a sales agreement or a proposal that's coming through. So in this case, let's go through and look at a contract one that we've already started processing. Now you can see that I've started to train the model to say, here's the thing that's important from here. So I want to be able to extract the type of agreement in this case. Now with machine teaching, I get to add explanations in this case. Those explanations can be driven by things like patterns. And so these patterns in this case, you can see I've asked it to look for a proximity pattern. So it's looking for the number of tokens, which is the characters and spaces as part of this, and be able to look for proximity of other tokens within this. Once I have that pattern established, it's something that the machine is able to learn from and look for in other documents. So if you think about all the different agreements and vendors and other places that you might be getting information from, this is a great way to take that very unstructured document and to be able to apply those same explanations across those documents. Once I've created that model, I can then think about applying it to different document libraries. Now, right now in V1, this is really around the Content Center experience itself. And so as part of that Content Center experience, you can see that I can apply this model. And once I've uploaded that content, then I'm able to go ahead and process the information that's important. Now, this is an example contract. So in this case, I want to be able to check out the different agreement and see what kind of consulting agreement this was. And so once I've done that, I've extracted that information. I've uploaded all of my files here. And you can see we've got some great conditional formatting that's occurring based on the type of agreement that it is. And so this is just one of those simple ways where I can do extensibility based on those areas, but I can also take it to the next level again with that Power Automate area too. So let's talk a little bit more about taxonomy and schema as well. So it's not necessary for you to truly have a metadata taxonomy investment inside of your organization in order to run Project Cortex. But like anything inside of information architecture, it's a great practice to help complement all of the AI that we have. So what you're going to learn about in this particular section is really understanding the new investments that we've made in taxonomy and the managed metadata service. If you're familiar with it from before, we've modernized a lot of new experiences and we've added some great new capabilities in the enterprise content types area. But we've also got some new extensibility methods, specifically for structured metadata and letting you have those endpoints available as part of the graph.microsoft.com. Now, we think about some of those investments that we've been making, and we're going to walk through some demos of these pieces. So we're really looking at this as something that goes across Microsoft 365. If you're familiar with the taxonomy service from SharePoint before, we're really enriching that whole service and taking it across multiple endpoints. We're also doing new ways to discover enterprise content types as part of this too. And so this is a great way to think about how you use content inside of your organizations, how are content types associated with different types of sites inside of SharePoint, and using all of the extensibility methods that we have there as well. And so we're going to see a demo now that helps us to understand some of the new investments we're making inside of taxonomy.
As part of our investments in the managed metadata service, we built all new admin experiences and updated end-user experiences around taxonomies and content types. You can find the new admin experiences within the Content Services node in the new SharePoint Admin Center. The modern term store has an all-new tree control that allows you to view and navigate the different levels of hierarchy within your taxonomy, starting from term groups down to terms and their children. It is also easy to view and manage the properties of a term with a simplified view that shows all the labels and descriptions for a term, its associated usage settings, and custom properties. Term creation is also very simple. For example, if I wanted to create a new term under development languages, it's a simple exercise. The new term store also supports search with an improved suggestion experience.
And as part of the new investments we're making, we're expanding what you know about enterprise content types and the new gallery that's associated with them.
Another new experience that would be available shortly is the content type gallery, which is discoverable under the Content Services node in the new SharePoint Admin Center. This gallery is a new experience that users can use to manage content types that are a part of the Content Type Hub. The new list view makes it easy for users to navigate through all of the content types available to them and also supports features such as sorting and filtering. This makes it easy for those managing content types to find the content types that they're interested in, as well as save custom views. Creating new content types is also easy with this simple form-based approach for creation. To view the details of a content type, just click on a content type and it loads the details page that has all the information starting from a description, category, a parent that shows the relationship up to the system, and all the site columns that form a part of this content type. You can choose to edit all of these details from here and also manage the creation and addition of site columns from this interface. Once you're done, you can choose to publish the content types and make them available for use all across your organization.
And we've also made great end user improvements too. And so this is a great way to be able to use all of that taxonomy power as you use your experiences every day.
For end users who interact with managed metadata columns in lists, a new tagging and filtering experience would be available. For example, in this list, if I know the term I'm looking for, I can leverage the improved type ahead suggestions to search both by default labels or by synonyms that I have defined. In case I'm more interested in navigating the term set to identify the desired term, I can do so with this new tree control that can better render larger lists. The filtering experience has also been improved. Within See All, users can now choose between two views: a list view that lists all the terms that have been used in the underlying list, or a tree view where users can choose to again navigate and identify the terms that they're interested in.
So there's a range of new features that we have as part of Project Cortex, and we hope you're just as excited about them as we are. You'll see them summarized here, but it's really a great way to think about that investment that you might have been making already inside of the term store and really taking it to the next level. Now, there's some additional features that we're developing as part of Project Cortex, and here's a demo just to show you a little bit about those new features that you can expect.
A few new features are available with Project Cortex. The first of them are term store analytics, which are discoverable from the home page of the new SharePoint Admin Center. So you have the new term store operations card, which leads you to all the new reports. The first being a trend of all the operations performed in the term store for the past 15 days, with the ability to generate and extract the data, and distributions of your term store. Specifically, the distribution of keywords versus regular terms, open versus closed terms, and a highlight of the number of terms that don't have synonyms defined. If users are interested, they can also choose to convert keywords to managed terms or convert open terms to closed terms directly from here. Another new feature is the ability to push content types to particular hub sites. This makes these content types available by default in all new lists and libraries in the hub site and associated sites. You will see a new push to hub site section where you can choose the hub sites that you're interested in pushing this content type to. And with that, this content type would now be available shortly to all the new lists and libraries that are created in those sites. Another new premium feature is the ability to add content types to a library directly from the end user's point of view. You will see a new content type section in the add column experience that allows you to view the content types that are already added to this library, or also choose the content types that you wish to add. You can also review the content types that are available directly from this experience. Once you've identified those that you're interested in adding, select apply, and this content type is now available to this library.
And as promised, we've got some new graph APIs that will be around for when Project Cortex goes to general availability in early summer. So you'll see here we've got some great ways for you to interact with new endpoints. So for structured metadata inside of your organizations, both on taxonomy as well as content types, we've got a new set of REST APIs that are available. We've looked at different ways that we can save you time and save you money with Project Cortex. Let's look at how we can help to discover new knowledge inside of your organization. So what you'll understand here is that we're mining through that content that we have inside of Microsoft 365, as well as that externally connected data that's coming through the Microsoft Search content connectors. So what you'll need to think about really with the mining area is how you help to configure this new experience for your users, and then look at how you can extend it in the future. So let's go through a couple of things for Project Cortex specifically here. So there's some new end user experiences that we have in addition to the administration experiences. And this is a really different thing. If you think about this inside of a Microsoft Graph, essentially what we're doing is creating new dynamic nodes. When we're mining for topics and content inside of your organization, it's really about collecting all those resources together, thinking about the people, the experts, all the content that you have, and how we can collect it together to mine for topics that are specific for your company. And that's using the richness of all the data that you have inside of the Microsoft Graph with some amazing new AI capabilities on top of it. But first, you've got to figure out how to enable this. So we're back off to the Microsoft Administration Center in this case, and we can go through and actually do some setup experience as part of this. So once I go through and I set up my new knowledge management experiences, I get to think about the different things like the scope of the sites that are being mined. And we think about this as a kind of progressive piece of part of our experience. So at first, you may be very comfortable with mining, for example, SharePoint sites that are shared broadly across your organization. And you'll have that opportunity to basically increase the scope of the mining as you need. So don't think about it as like I have to mine everything inside my organization straight off the bat, but really think about where do I want to concentrate the efforts to start off with, and then understand understand the new experiences, and then be able to apply those over time. So thinking about the different ways that the knowledge network is able to find those topics, and then we can think about who has access to those specific topics. So is it something that we want people to be able to see extensively inside of our organization, or do you maybe want some knowledge managers to be able to work through those topics that we discover first, and then think about how that's brought into your organization too? So once we've done that, we can actually create a topic center or a knowledge center. In this case, this is a new destination. Think about this as kind of a new portal where you'll be able to see all of the different topics that have been mined inside of your organization. And you're going to get some great new functionality as well that both help you to mine topics, manage topics, and then you as an end user to be able to follow and keep up to date with the topics that are interesting to you. Once I've done all of that, I can review these settings. I can change them at any time if I wish, but the first time round, we get this great, nice wizard approach. And then once you've done that, we're applying that, and then it's available inside of your organization. Now, you might be asking a lot of questions about different controls like security and compliance that are important as part of knowledge mining. You should understand that as part of Microsoft 365, we take your privacy and compliance extremely seriously. And everything we're doing with Project Cortex is obviously applies by those methods that we already have inside of Microsoft 365. But once you've got those compliance controls in place, thinking about the different areas that you want to mine, we give you a whole range of different areas here in terms of controls. And so you'll be able to make these decisions as part of your organization to think about what kind of governance, how do you want topics to be mined themselves, what content gets mined, and then how you think about extending those out to your organization as well. As part of the Topic Center, we'll also have some new management capabilities too that allow subject matter experts, maybe they're a knowledge manager inside of your organization, think of maybe a specific category that has lots of different topics within it, and they'll actually have some great confirmation and controls as part of that too. Makes it a lot easier to think about how you can confirm a specific topic, for example, things that we've discovered as part of the mining, and then you can think about how you might even add additional topics as well if something didn't get picked up by the AI that you were expecting. Now, that's a great piece on sort of understanding a little bit about the knowledge mining itself. Let's get to some of the new end user controls as part of this too. So when you think about these experiences here, I'm going to show you them in lots of different places. So the idea of a topic card and a topic page, once Project Cortex has gone through and has done a whole bunch of mining, it's discovered topics inside of your organizations, you figured out, who's able to see those different topics and how those candidate topics were confirmed into real topics. We can also think about the different end user controls that we have here too. So when I go through to knowledge experiences, and we're going to check out some of those new experiences. Now, as I mentioned at the beginning, Project Cortex is a Microsoft 365 offering. And so when we think about this, we'll be able to drill in. Specifically, here I am in Teams. And you can see that some of these concepts in here have been highlighted for me automatically. That's because it understands a little bit about me and as an individual and what's interesting to me and what I have access to. And so that highlighting is being shown automatically as part of this. But if I didn't know what this particular project was here, I could click through and I could see a hover card here. This topic card is a new sort of platform, if you think about it, for Project Cortex. And we really think about this as a great experience of the way it gets built into the learning that you have every single day. When I click through onto that topic card, I see this topic page. And this topic page allows me to see all of this great information around the resources that are being mined, the people and expertise associated with this. And these things have been mined automatically by AI. And then you're able to come in and curate this information as well. Now, the cool thing here is that, you can do as much or as little work as you want. The goal here is to be partnering with people inside of your organization, AI to do all that heavy lifting that's important, sort of go through, mine the stuff, keep it up to date, and then folks can come in and curate the information that's important as part of this. This also includes the new knowledge network visualization that we have as well. And these are things, it's a great way to be able to think of this as maybe a mind map for all the different topics and how things are related together. And you can actually go in and curate these connections as part of this too. And you can also use this visualization as a knowledge network navigation device. And so if I thought that there was a particular topic of interest in there, I could actually browse through and I can see in this case the Mark 8 topic as part of this too. Now, there's this knowledge center idea that we talked about earlier. So when I was going through and I was able to set up as an administrator this new knowledge center or topic center, you can think of this as being a place where I see all of the topics that are relevant to me, and I'm able to go through and use additional things like web parts. I could take these capabilities and put them on other internet destinations as well. And then as an end user, I'm able to go through and be able to do things like confirm my connection with a topic. So say AI has discovered me automatically as part of this topic. I can go through and confirm what I need to do there. And then I can also keep up to date with some of those topics as well. It's really important to be as part of this to understand that we're giving you a great deal of control about how you show up within these specific topics. And all of these things are being powered right now from a SharePoint experience side. So all of the existing extensibility capabilities that you know and love are able to be used here as well. Now, there's an important piece here that we think on the topic card itself, and that's really having humans as part of that loop. And so when you're looking at topics as you're browsing through, there's an important piece that allows us to say, hey, I want to give feedback of this topic in this specific context. And so you'll see there's a little feedback mechanism in here that says, is this really a topic? And this is kind of a great way to crowdsource. Is this a topic inside of your organization? But then we ask a whole range of other questions as part of this too. And those other questions are really helping you to understand, is this the right topic in the right context? And so we've got some sophistication here that help you to analyze that and then to understand how we're presenting that to the user. Okay, so we covered a lot of things, but I wanted to just go through a number of these areas just to make sure that the extensibility part of this is really clear. So first off, when you're thinking about connecting in all of that data to Project Cortex, there's many sessions at Build this week in terms of understanding the Microsoft Search Graph connectors as part of this. And those content connectors bring in new data from other places outside of Microsoft 365. Project Cortex is able to use those connections once that information is brought in. In addition to this, you can also use new search extensibility capabilities we have as part of Microsoft Search. So if you've ever wanted to build a custom search results page, or if you ever wanted to redirect the query box, for example, on your SharePoint intranet, these are things that you're already able to do and take advantage of in addition to the work that we're doing with Project Cortex. Now, on the API front, specific to Project Cortex, we have kind of two types around that. So one is about topics. So that's about the mined knowledge and the discovered knowledge that happens inside of organizations. And we'll have a set of APIs for those. And then, as we mentioned on the structured side, this metadata and the extraction, we have taxonomy and content type APIs. Now, of course, in addition to this, we have all the great capabilities you have as part of the Power Platform and Azure. And there's all of that extensibility and richness that we can do here. This is, of course, all built on top of a great foundation inside of the Microsoft Graph and all of those endpoints through graph.microsoft.com. So that's enough on sort of the developer and extensibility message. I'm going to hand this over to Chris now, and Chris is going to talk through a lot about the business scenarios and how you'll be able to use this and learn more inside of your organization. So that's it for Project Cortex and the capabilities and features. I hope you've understood all this extensibility and the great richness that there is now. Now I'm going to hand it over to Chris, and he's going to tell you about how you apply this in business scenarios for your organization.
Thanks, Naomi. We are so excited about the potential for Project Cortex. We hope you've seen a lot of the ways you're going to be able to customize those experiences to deliver new value to your internal and external customers. But why has Microsoft built Project Cortex in the first place? What are some of the scenarios that you may be able to use it for? Naomi and myself, along with our colleagues, have been on a journey the last couple of years to talk to as many customers as possible about their needs for knowledge and content services. And this is really the nucleus of why we're building Project Cortex. Understanding, given the pace of change in today's world, knowledge and insights are the key to empowering employees to do more, to act quickly, and to help organizations transform themselves with efficiency and innovation. We recognize there are a number of places where you may already be trying to address scenarios like these throughout your organizations. We know that the first part of this journey begins with measuring and understanding your content and knowledge culture so you know what to measure and how to change it moving forward. The second part of this is being able to engage people with the information they need in the applications they're already using. And finally, bringing all of those capabilities together to create a knowledge-centric culture that captures and delivers the insight and information people need in the applications that are part of their everyday experience. These are just some of the scenarios where people may be looking for more help, and we think Project Cortex can help. So whether or not you're trying to enrich corporate communications, to build an intelligent intranet, or to take advantage of extending Microsoft Graph to forge your knowledge network, Project Cortex, we hope, is instrumental in delivering on that vision. Project Cortex, as Naomi has explained it, has a rich range of technical capabilities. To summarize it at a top level, Project Cortex contains new experiences that help me build larger and larger capacity for today's modern content workloads and take advantage of our content connectors to bring information from outside Microsoft 365 into your service to be enriched with the graph and be available for search and use. The second part is how do we take advantage of the best AI that we have to be able to read and process that information in real time? If you're going to have millions or billions of pieces of information, how can we use Cortex's capabilities to extend that, to allow you to deal with information at scale? And lastly, how can we create a rich ecosystem of experiences for knowledge that extend throughout the Microsoft 365 suite? All of these capabilities and more will be enriched by the APIs that are available through Microsoft Graph. We've heard about many more detailed scenarios from our customers who have joined us in the Project Cortex preview program. Today, over 75 organizations around the world have started to take advantage of Project Cortex. They've told us about many scenarios they're going to be using Cortex for today and in the future around compliance, processing, and knowledge scenarios. We hope to be able to introduce Cortex to help you solve these problems in your organizations very soon as Cortex reaches general availability by early summer 2020. In the meantime, we've made an arsenal of resources available to you today, centered in the Project Cortex Resource Center, available at aka.ms/Project Cortex. That's the launch point that will get you to a rich range of demos, white papers, resources, analyst research, and more. It will also connect you to our ongoing office hours series, as well as the information we released at Build this week about our new taxonomy APIs. It'll connect you to other parts of our content services partner program and provide more detail about how to enrich your connectors with our Microsoft Graph Content Connector APIs. That's what we have to share with you today. Of course, you can get connected to more development expertise in Microsoft 365 using any of the resources that we've collected for you on the screen here. So we hope you've enjoyed our overview of Project Cortex, looking at it from a developer and business audience. There are lots of resources that are available, and we hope we've answered many of your questions. That's all we have for right now. Naomi, anything else to add?
That's great, Chris. Thank you so much. We hope you're just as excited about Project Cortex as we are, and we look forward to all of the great experiences you're going to build on top of it. Thanks so much.